I'm not motivated trying to be a celebrity or trying to be super rich or anything like that. I'm really motivated by trying to be proud of my artistic legacy, and that what she did with Cowboy Carter makes me so proud.
Cam, welcome to the studio. How are you?
Yeah, I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I don't know if you'll recall this or not, because you do loads of interviews, but we had a brief chat a long time ago. It was on Zoom.
Yes.
It was during COVID.
Those were the days.
Oh, God.
I almost didn't recognize you without the screen box around you, but yeah.
And here we are, like in
I
person,
know,
face to face. And I think at the time as well, you had just had a child, or it was
Yes.
pretty new,
Yes,
because
yes.
you had locked yourself away in a side room, having 2 minutes apiece.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Have things calmed down a bit for you now?
Yeah, I mean, in so much as she's like a tiny dictator who's 5.5 years old and she runs my life, but I'm happier for it. So it's, yeah, I don't know if calm maybe is the word, but I think I have made my peace with what it means to surrender some control.
Well, that's always the case, whether it's in a relationship or whether
Yeah,
it's a child or,
yes.
So is she here, by the way? She's not your manager now, is she?
She kind of is little mini manager. She wanted to come because she was here last time I did British Summertime with the Eagles that night and stuff. It was so cool. And I forgot, I hadn't explained this concept. She was only 2.5 then, I guess, maybe 3. The concept of like, yeah, you're side stage, but there's like an invisible line. You don't follow me out to like the mics. And so she tried to follow. And then my husband grabbed her. Oh, she cried. So insulted that she wasn't invited to like come where mom was standing. And I was like, ooh, yeah, I got to give her a heads up next time about how that all works. But she wasn't afraid of a giant, sea of people or anything. She was happy to tag along. Very upset she didn't come on this trip. So I'm trying to explain like, the logistics, how long the flight is. It doesn't make sense. It's still all tears. And then I go, I'll bring you back something like a stuffed animal. It's like, great. Solved. Done.
That's such a cute story, though, isn't it? She just, of course, thinks you can just go along with mom
Yes.
wherever. And
and then you're like, oh, yeah, these are all these tiny little rules we've got in our world that this is my job as a mother to pass on, how it all works. And
I remember that day, by the way, phenomenal lineup. And what a day. They must really jump out at you days like that, because you gig all around and you've worked with loads, but there are some that must shine a little more than others.
Yeah. There was something about that, and I'm going to go see Cat Stevens on, I did see Cat Stevens just at the last British Summertime, and it's that crowd. First off, being in the UK, like I feel like something about the things that I love about music and the way I make music and the way you guys listen to music, it just marries so well. I have such a great relationship with the people who listen to my music here. And I feel that way, like getting to go see shows, at Hyde Park and stuff too. It's just like the way everybody's listening, even though it's a huge crowd, is fantastic. It's every artist's dream, to be singing and have all these people so attentive to what you're doing.
We're very well behaved here.
You are. That's very true.
Let's talk about the music that you're making, because you've got a new album out today.
I do. All Things Light.
All Things Light. I've had to listen to it, by the way, a couple of times now.
Yeah.
Been lucky enough to get a preview. It's brilliant.
Thank you.
And varied too. It reminds me, it's contemporary in every way, but there's definitely a reminder of other
some
sounds.
nostalgia,
right?
yes, for sure. There's a song called Slow Down that is like this, almost like a 30s Andrews Sisters thing. And but it's telling everybody, I love that it feels old and as if it's an old saying that we all should know by now, but it's saying you should slow down and be living your life for the right reasons for you. And like, it's your body. Like, don't waste your time here doing something for someone else's. And it's all said in a very cute, 30s kind of way, but it's telling a very modern, like, I think that's how modern life is happening right now. It's way too fast. The pandemic sort of reminded everyone with a big hit in the face, like, ooh, are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you living how you should be living? Like, maybe rethink it and be extra intentional about it. So yeah, I love weaving in. What I'm trying to do is it's for myself and for my daughter, like a spiritual framework, to be honest with you, because I wasn't raised religious and I love just sort of cherry picking, practices and beliefs. And then when I had my baby, went into a pandemic, and facing like a lot of unknowns, I was like, I need something to hold on to. And so I just sort of wove together this little patchwork of beliefs, and I won't say answers, because anyone who claims to have the answers, you should run the other direction. But stories and questions and feelings that to address what you normally are going through when you feel a bit lost, and what do you have to turn to? And hopefully this album is something people can turn to.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because two things jump into my head. So I'll go with what you've just been most recently saying just then. I was having a similar conversation with my son, one of my two sons, 26 years of age, and we were having this,
26.
Because, going out in the world, he's got himself a good job. But we were talking about, what do you want out of life? Because
Yes.
what are you going to ask yourself, or
Yeah.
somebody's going to ask you later on? Are you doing the things you wanted to do,
Yes.
or the important things, or making the connections and all?
my gosh.
So you basically touched on all of that
Yes,
just
and
then.
you as a parent, so what do you say?
Yeah.
What
Well,
did you tell him?
You do the things that really matter. Because we've all seen those quotes from older people, when they're near the end and they're kind of going, I wish I'd have done that, or,
Yeah.
all
yeah.
those regrets. So don't have those regrets.
Oh, my God.
But you're able to decide that today.
Yeah.
And go down those roads you want. So
Right.
basically that's what
Yes.
you're kind of
Oh,
saying.
my grandpa's second wife, who was one of my favorite people, she, I guess, had an aunt on her deathbed, said she had vacuumed her house twice a day every day. And she was like, why did I spend all that time vacuuming?
Yeah.
And it was like so obvious to all of us now, but it's like back then everybody was vacuuming their house all the time.
Yeah.
And you, just because everybody's doing it, don't think it deserves to go unexamined, because if it doesn't ring true for you in your body and you feel like, oh, I'm lit up, even when it's hard, I'm lit up, then it might not be for you. And obviously that's a privilege to get to decide that in a lot of situations, but you can push, you can shape more than you think.
Well, it's funny, I think I've got a feeling we could talk all day
Yeah, I
about
know.
our life and where we're going and where we'd like to go. But honestly, it's great when you meet somebody who has similar-ish,
Yeah.
But I have to pull it back.
Yes,
As much
music,
as
let's
if
do
we
it.
were in the pub now having a drink, we'd be able to talk all
Yes.
night about this. It's funny you should pick on Slow Down.
Yeah.
Because I got that vibe
Yeah.
about the way back vibe, but also I've got to ask you, who does the whistling on that?
Yeah, that is my buddy Simon, who
Oh, right.
the two of us, he's in my band. We write and work together. He collaborated with me on one of the Beyonce tracks, Daughter. And he's an old soul. The first instrument he learned was accordion, I think. And he is just, the two of us send each other old records, not even like super old, but like, I don't know, like Roger Miller. It'll be like, oh, check out this. It's just, that's our normal text back and forth. And so when we sit down to write, of course it ends up leaning that direction. And yeah, he just had this funky whistle and he kept being like, I should make it better. I was like, do not make it better. Leave it just as kind of quirky as it is.
Well, it jumped out of me straight away. I
Yeah.
had to raise that. I had to ask you about that. You mentioned Beyonce. I would like to touch on that at some point.
Yeah.
But first of all, I'd like to just still dig into your album.
Love it.
It's been ages since you released, previously,
Yeah.
and your fans are probably thinking, especially in a world where we have now, where artists are releasing songs every 10 minutes, aren't they? And then they give you the next and the next. So you've made us wait a bit, which,
Yes.
isn't a bad thing.
It is. It's very intentional. Because everybody, trust me, everyone around me that is on the business side would love if this happened at a faster rate.
Yeah.
But I have such a high bar. I feel like I've only just met my expectations for what I can make on this album. I'm so proud of everything I've made, but I've only felt like I dreamt something and I made it exactly how I wanted to make it on this album. And I feel like I got into it late. Like I got out of psychology research around 24 and started working on this music stuff. And so I'm trying to take the time that it deserves to be good and be right. And then obviously the life gets in the way. And also I enjoy raising my daughter, so it just takes time. And
Yeah.
I know that feeling of, everybody wants more and more frequently, but I don't know. I just feel like as a mom, I also have this filter of like, I don't have time for anything that doesn't really matter to me. And now I have an excuse. I can be like, nope, I have a kid. I don't have time for that. So I just do that with the music too, where I want it to be, it's recorded. It's here for a long time. Like we've had recorded music for over 100 years now, basically.
Yeah.
That's this could be around forever. So I want it to make sense and matter. I'm not here to just
bash out another
trash
tune.
out whatever. So not that it's trash, other people do. Some of it is, but I want it to be great. And so I'm going to let it take the time it needs to take. And I end up running into artists that do similar stuff. And I feel like we all kind of hug each other about it. Like, oh yeah, good. I'm glad you're taking your time, you know?
And it sounds like you got total creative control as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. I didn't realize what a gift that was. I think anytime there were times in my career, I'd say that I maybe took people's advice more, but it was never like you need to do this or else type of feeling. I was really lucky because Burning House, I mean, I got signed with that song and it worked and did the Grammys and, nomination and triple platinum. And so it was such a massive moment from the outset, from something that was I was told to my face how different it was and how lucky I was that got to do. And I am lucky, but I think being different and making different choices has sort of then been built into what I do, and people acknowledge that. And so I don't get as much pushback. I'm really lucky to be RCA with Peter Edge, who's always been, he's like, just keep doing more you. That's what I want, like more you. And that, yeah, is huge. I know that's not like that for everybody. So I try to appreciate it as much as I can.
Well, as you know, that's a great position to be in because some people are molded and, all that. So
I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I think I would do a different job,
Yeah. It wouldn't be worth it.
Yeah.
Certainly
make money another way.
Clearly with your character and spirit, that probably wouldn't be working, would it?
I don't think so, yeah.
I've got to ask you as well, obviously you've worked or you've written for many different artists. How did the whole, because was it 5 songs that ended up on Cowboy Carter, Beyonce's album?
Yeah.
So how did that materialize?
Yeah, so that one, I always feel like it seems like such luck because I don't think I go out. I'm not out there like slinging songs. I'm normally doing my artist career and then I'll happen to be in some spot and I get invited somewhere and the artist is there and we mesh and it all transpires, like very fortunate. And this one, I had gone into the studio by myself to start writing stuff for this next record, and being totally alone because it was the pandemic, I wasn't doing the thing that I do where I'm a big sister and I normally am like aware of everyone else's feelings and how are we cooperating. And I was just by myself. So all my little spidey senses were just for me and what I wanted to pull out of the collective subconscious. And as I was getting into that, I was like, whoa, this is a new kind of depth and like that I'm swimming at. And it's a little bit colder and a little bit, it's just different. And right as I started tapping into that was when I got the call like, hey, can you make this session, for Beyonce? And it was like, yeah. And it just clicked with what they were hoping for, like Beyonce's vision for that album. It just feels so lucky and divine timing that what I was making at that time fit with what she was seeing and how that was going to go. It's just like it feels so insanely lucky.
But don't you find sometimes things just marry up? And there are other times the opposite. They never, no matter how much you try.
Yeah.
So sometimes things almost fall into place.
Yeah, it's really true. And it feels, I don't know, for me, the music of it and the art of it has always been first. Like I'm not motivated trying to be a celebrity or trying to be super rich or anything like that. I'm really motivated by trying to be proud of my artistic legacy, and that what she did with Cowboy Carter makes me so proud to have been a part of that, and that those songs and that whole album it's like a cultural, it's going to be talked about for such a long time, the impact it had. So
you were part of that game
tickled.
changer, weren't you?
Yep, I was.
So, I mean, obviously, as a performer, you've got that going on, and as a writer too. But how thrilling is it for your songs to end up going off in different directions and possibly sounding a bit different to how they otherwise would?
Honestly, I've been really lucky. There's been like Miley and Sam and Beyonce, everything, the spirit of what my intention and my contributions all exist still in their renditions of those things or how they adjusted them or anything. It all still, the spirit of it still feels true to what I was feeling when I was writing it, so I never felt like for example, there was somebody very early on where I did feel like, ooh, that wasn't quite what I thought that was gonna sound like. So it's only happened one time, and but all these other situations, it's so rewarding to hear someone do it and do it in a way that's right. I don't know if that's fair to say, but it just feels true to whatever I felt like I was. Because to me, when I think about music, I feel it in my stomach. Like I feel it, and if it feels the same, then I feel like that's when I've won or I've done it correctly. The thing that was being created to begin with, even though it might on the outside look or sound a tiny bit different, it still feels the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So whether it was you delivering it or the other artist,
Yeah.
let's say. Wow. Well, this time around, it's all about you.
Yeah.
Yes, your album. So I wish you the best of luck with it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
First of all, and it's been an absolute pleasure because when we did that Zoom all those years ago, I was thinking, I wonder if she'll get, because you know those days, you're wondering if you'll ever get out of your side
Oh
room,
my gosh,
let
yes.
alone, but here we are, and it's a pleasure to have you back over here.
Yeah, it's so nice to be here in person and chat, and
Yeah.
you'll have to come to one of the shows
I
soon.
would love to do that. So listen, absolute pleasure, and it's been a great old chat.
Yeah, thank you.